Hello, sir. Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk about a topic that we have and follow daily, but we do not understand it. So, we will be talking about Pathya and Apathya food. And today we have with us Dr. Praveen Kumar Verma from JNU, who is a fascinating bridge between Ayurveda and molecular biology. We will be taking his expertise in molecular biology and connect his expertise with Ayurgenomics. So, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you.
So, what is the connection between Ayurgenomics and molecular biology?
This is whatever we do have the Ayurveda of science, it's already well developed, well documented, but it has not gone out from our country, and although people are definitely very much interested about herbal medicine and other things, but for making it very very popular, we need to have certain things which is related to the modern science, what we call. So in that case, the recent development of the genomics, which we call as a genomics era, this entire thing is now going to merge the Ayurveda science along with the genomics. So this is going to give a different perspective of Ayurveda science, which will be much more mechanistically oriented. And when we will talk about the causal, what are the causal mechanisms there, that we can definitely can figure out.
So when we talk about Ayurgenomics, like recently molecular biology is very recent when we compare to Ayurgenomics.
Yeah.
Our elders or grandparents are well aware of Ayurveda, but still it is not persistent amongst we youngsters. We don't know much about Ayurgenomics, and we are more focused towards new molecular biology. Why is that so?
So the important here is that there are two things which is I still believe. One is the Ayurveda as a practice that the Ayurveda practitioners they do. We do have a very good institute in Delhi also, the All India Institute of Ayurveda Science. So that there people are actually working on with the patients. But how the mechanism, how the things are already it is known in our system. That should be if it is coming from the plant side or from the patient side, from where we are taking the alkaloids or medicine, that is also very important. Also how they are acting in our body, that is also very important. That's why this type of things is very important. So now the important here is that when we talk about the Ayurveda, there are three things that are very important: Vat, Pitta and Kapha. So there are so many, recently people have, you must have realized in the recent era that many people you think about, during the COVID time, they got expired, because
Yes,
of the
sir.
COVID.
Yes,
And
sir.
they were not, and some of the people who were comorbid, they were having some, or diabetes or any other disease, they got survived. So that's why now it is high time to see that there is a which is already described in our Indian knowledge system and the text of Ayurveda, where people have already talked about the different individual have different prakriti.
Yes,
So
sir.
such type of things, if we can differentiate between the prakriti by these Ayurveda, so there now the important thing is that we go for the personalized medicine. So such type of personalized medicine, if we can think in the terms of Ayurveda with the modern science, that will be really fantastic for the patients.
Absolutely, sir. Today science is obviously driving towards nutrigenomics and personalized medicines.
Correct.
Since you mentioned COVID time, I would like to ask you the biochemical pathway or mechanism between the use of giloy. So many people used giloy
correct,
during
correct.
COVID, and they were
Yeah.
safe from any kind of infection during that time. How do you see that?
So the individual medicine is already known in our text, the Ayurveda text. Many things, even Charak Samhita, the giloy is already mentioned. So many other like ashwagandha and other things are also for the immune booster and other things is discovered. But definitely it's still not known. Only few publication from India which has come up in the terms of Ayurveda, where people are doing the genomic science to develop this such type of things. There is one institute here in IGIB where it's a CSR institute. There people have done. some work, and also some work has been done in CCMB Hyderabad, Cellular and Molecular Biology.
Correct, sir.
That is a institute of CSIR again. There people have done, there. So this is a high time when we have to think about, because you all know that, that time everybody was looking after sustainable things like go for Giloy, go for, the ashwagandha. Many, I think the IIT Delhi has also declared some medicine on ashwagandha for sustainable, during COVID times.
So Ayurveda says that you become what you eat or digest. How does it correlate with digestion-driven biochemistry?
Definitely, like Ayurveda is not a, like the modern medicine practice. We give the medicine according to the symptom or according to the need of the body. But Ayurveda is, like many things is related to our food habit, or the food what we are taking, during this time. So, like in Ayurveda, many things like if you talk about the fruits and vegetables, all these are for each season. There is a different type of the fruits is recommended for different type of, that like somebody is having
Dishes are also
the heart
different.
disease, or somebody is having the asthma. They do have a different type of medicine has been, like all those, like we call ads, like we talk about some of the things which is not very good for our, the immune system as well as the breathing system, so that we should avoid. So Ayurveda is, not only a single practice, which is it's a basically wholesome thing. Basically, when we are talking about our food practice, our day-to-day lifestyle, besides that, the medicinal practice is there. So, and each medicinal practice is also being given in the Ayurveda. Is not only the practice that you have given, certain medicine to, how it has been prepared. There are rasas, there are bhasma, there are many things are there. So which, it all depends. Besides that, this is now high time to discuss about, like many times we see that, like if we make some of the Ayurveda medicine in natural way, it actually works very well. But when we, by modern science, people, they isolate the active ingredient and then they give. It doesn't work that, better.
Correct, sir. I was about to ask you, why does this happen that we can't translate the same chemical
Correct,
formula
correct.
into
So maybe
allopathy?
the way that it has been prepared, along with the other alkaloid, it's not a single alkaloid that is happening there. So that's why, most of the Ayurveda medicine, if you see that, it's a mixture of many things. And if you see that I'm a plant scientist, I know that many, the secondary metabolic pathways, genes, many phenolics, flavonoids, isoflavonoids, they get synthesized during the stress condition in the plants, and they do have a different type of, like, so Ayurveda medicine, is also that some of the alkaloids accumulate only at by a particular time of the season,
Season or
like,
time.
or time.
Photoperiodism
is also there. Also the different altitude.
okay.
They do have, different. So suppose some medicine which is Ayurveda medicine is growing in Himalayan region. If you are growing in Delhi, you may not be getting the same type of, the alkaloids accumulated in that.
Phytochemicals are also affected by geography.
Definitely. So that's why, it's very important to, study these things, that how these are getting accumulated, what are these ingredients are there. So we have, they recently started some of the work in this particular field, that in the rasas, how, the vesicles, the extracellular vesicles, how they are going to have certain, like Ayurveda alkaloids in their when we prepare those type of, medicinal formulation. So that is going to help probably in our body in a different manner, rather than we just isolate the one alkaloid and take by capsule, or by a tablet.
So this was very beautiful explanation. I couldn't have expected better than this.
Yeah.
I would really like you to connect Pathya and Apathya Aahar with biochemistry and our gut bacteria.
Yes, this is, like gut bacteria is very recently, people have, talked about in our, practice, but our ancient practice is already, like like our food habit is also important for our gut bacteria. And gut bacteria is modern science is now, it is now related to our even memory, even our behavior, like the stress behavior and other behaviors also with the gut bacteria. So there are so many researches going on in this particular field. So this is high time when we do have already have knowledge in the Ayurveda system, which we can translate or like correlate with the modern gut bacteria system. So which is important. Like you all know that the some of the practices which we eat in the our like curd or something, some medicine they prescribe that you take with curd.
Correct.
Some medicine they prescribe in Ayurveda that you take with the grit.
Right.
So some medicine they will prescribe that you take just with water, some with cold water, some with warm water. So such type of things that we have to study. We all know that this is already there in Samhita and other like Ayurveda texts is there, like all these matters. But how when we are taking inside our body and how it is actually working in. So this is the modern Ayurveda research or Ayurveda biology research as such is should be related to this, where the genomics and molecular biology may be giving a very good idea in this particular things.
So since you talked about connecting, and obviously my project is also based upon connecting Ayurveda to current biology, who are the correct people who should do this? Because since we are from science background, we don't know Sanskrit, and all this documentation were done in Sanskrit previously, like Charya Samhita, Sushruta Samhita. Their translation is not as accurate as it should be. So how do we fill this communication gap between the two streams?
So the two things are there. One is that government is also now, like they are going to translate most of the Ayurveda texts are in Sanskrit. So they are going to translate. There already some project is going on, and even Prime Minister has already given this idea in his some of the addresses that we should have the so many texts are available. So such type of things should be available to the scientist. Then only you can do. So there should be, and beside that, there should be a bridge between the scientist and the people who know the Ayurveda. Besides that, some of the people who are very well aware about the Indian knowledge system, they can give a very good insights in our Ayurveda biology research. So such type of things, definitely we should go for. So there's it's a high time to make a bridge between the people who are working in Ayurveda along with the patient, and third thing is the Ayurveda text, the people who know about the Ayurveda. So the scientist, the modern scientist, along with the patient and the Ayurveda practitioners, all three should come together, and then we can definitely give a very good. So the government should, I still feel that that they should have a collaborative or networking project in this regard and such type of things, where we can have this type of research. Although it's still what I can say that is we do have a huge that knowledge in our system.
Correct.
So that if somebody starts working on this, they are going to in next 5 years they can do just 0.0001% of the whatever the knowledge.
Yes, so government's initiative of traditional knowledge.
Correct.
And I guess will
Correct.
definitely help. So coming on to what is the reason that we Gen Zs or youth are more emphasized or attracted towards Apathya food, that is what we call junk food? What is it, a psychological problem?
So since you have talked about Gen Z, so I think you remember the some of the ad which comes like Complan.
Correct, sir.
So Boost is the secret of my energy.
Yes.
Or I'm a Complan boy, I'm a Complan girl. So such type of things, like it is there already in the media, and this is an era when our young generation they get attracted with those things. But actually, at the time of like when people got during the COVID time, nobody talked about. Says it's basically boost ज़्यादा शक्ति देता है, but the shakti is not required anymore for those. So that's why I feel that this is a time where you have raised a very good question that we should have, like people should have a, like this should be taught in the school, colleges, and also given in at least some of the ideas. At least, like each the field is having their own pros and cons, so that initial like in the our textbook also should have at least one chapter where our Indian knowledge system can be translated, so that the young generation can also correlate with those things, so that they can believe. The important thing is that believing in our own things. So basically, because of the our, you all know that we were having near about so many years of our the colony, like that's why I call this a colonial hangover.
Correct,
So we do
sir.
have. So we believe that the people who are coming from the Western world, they are actually giving their best. But actually, if you see that our text, I was also not aware of that. But since I was started teaching in Ayurveda biology course, I came to know about many things about this thing. It's really fascinating. I think our young generation should, be taught in this ways that they should also get attracted in this particular.
So, from your experience, how will you guide upcoming researchers and youth to use experimental model to validate Apatya and Pathya Aahar? And is it still validated? How do we convince public that the concept of Ayurveda or Pathya or Apatya Aahar is true? I mean, it is ever since documented, but people are struggling to believe it. How do we do that?
See, the important thing is that like I when I remember my childhood days, like not all vegetables are available all the year.
Correct.
But right now, you will get all the vegetables all the time in the year. So sometimes, that if you see that our Ayurveda text, it's not that these the Pathya or Apathya is already very well defined, and they have already have that which type of food you can take, which type of food. So that's why like tamasic bhojan and all those like sattvic bhojan, how that has given our, even our fasting is a part of our lifestyle in Ayurveda.
Right, sir.
So that's many things is actually related to these, and then definitely it is going to help if we can work on these things. People should talk about all these things. Many the interviews like today we are taking, that should be making you can make it public, so that people can understand. We can read. You can advertise in the newspapers and write articles in the newspapers. So such type of things are important. So right now, what I can see that most of the Ayurveda companies that they are available in, they don't have much emphasis on the research. So the industry and the academia partnership should be there in this particular field. They do have money, so they can project in this way. Their own product they can project in this way, so that people can get convinced by all these things. Along with that, the Pathya and Apathya is important in this regard.
So, two more questions to go. One, I would really try to ask, since you're from plant background, do you agree that hybrids are in correlation with Ayurgenomics? Is it good or bad for us?
See, is this a question is the hybrid and other things is is not a the I can give you a very good account of all these things. Actually, if you see that we do have in the selection by which we have done all these things is not new. It's last 10,000 years people are doing this type of things. That they are taking some of the things which is like we call as a selection breeding. So selection of the better variety they take for the other generation. So such type of things are there. So hybrid is also like it's only the hybridization between two different species that is happening. But definitely there's some, this is a matter of research also, that we should work on certain things that what we have lost, and something we may have gone get in all these things. But usually this type of hybrid things are only in the green crops.
Correct, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
those such type of things. The mostly like the Ayurveda medicine we get from the certain plants which are not having the any hybrid. So we should not bother about the hybrid and the things. Definitely, our food habit, what you call as a Pathya and Apathya, definitely, such type of food habit is important. Why, people are more, if you go for in the southern India, they do have a different variety. They actually prefer different variety of, the rice to
Okay.
eat. And if you go to northern India, they do have Eastern India, they have different varieties. So they maybe liking or disliking is also depends upon their availability as well as their food habit, which they have been following for just like a tradition for years, for their forefather, and they have inherited all these things. That's why it's very important to talk about these things. But the hybrid plants may not have that much of effect, because we are mostly thinking about the food habit along with those things. But food habit is now, it has got so much of change. Definitely it will have a role in that. Our Ayurveda, our gut microbiome is also very important when you talk about those things.
So, on the last question, what would you like to say to our audience as you are a molecular biologist to follow one dietary habit that is scientifically proven and aligns with our project also?
So the scientific habit, if you talk about this, is in Ayurveda text also. It is fiber is one of the most important thing that we talk about, as well as some of the vegetables. We don't, right now our food habit is that we cook too much. भून जाते करते हैं. So we are actually losing some of the ingredient. So green vegetable along with the fiber is very good. Along with that, many things that which I learned during the interaction with some of the Ayurveda practitioners of All India Institute of Ayurveda Science. There they have told that like the molecular level, it should be important that what we are eating right now. So the food habit and other things should be with what is balanced diet is already given in our Ayurveda text.
Absolutely,
And such
sir.
type of balanced diet is not only containing the protein, carbohydrate, and other things, but also the seasonal variations is also there in those things, and that is important for all of us to take such type of food in the future. So that will help us for better health. And also it is also important to have a like our the practice that what we do in our like day to day habit, that is also going to affect on our thinking, our psychology, our like many other stress management. Everything is all depends upon our stomach. So that's why it's taking good food is always better to have your better health, as well as better your mind is also and Ayurveda is only science where not only we see about the body health, but our mind also we see. So that is also very important for our this type of research that has to be. I am really thankful to you that you have taken a very good topic, and definitely this topic is requires lots of such type of research in our practice. I will tell you one example that still what we call as a Indian knowledge system, I call it the original knowledge system. So that definitely this is a high time to believe in our original system. We can only compare with the Chinese medicine and some of the medicine which is practices in Egypt or some in the Greek that is there, but not with the other medicine practices that we can help. I will give you one example of the research. There is a medicine plant in China which they have discovered during the Vietnam War, and they called it Artemisia annua.
Okay.
That is a plant. That is a, now it is known that it is the artemisinin is one of the ingredient, which is a very important ingredient for our liver stage malaria.
Okay.
So that is the only medicine. People still they practice that, and I will tell you that that has given a Nobel Prize to Chinese ladies
All right.
recently, and the 2008 or 9, I don't remember that year, but she has got. So such type of things, we do have plenty of things in our Ayurveda system. Just like artemisinin. So this is high time for the younger generation. I am just telling you that we do have plenty of things where we can pick one thing, and definitely we can go to up to that stage where people can get even a novel.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your appreciation and sharing such an insightful discussion and having a part of this topic today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.